Hello everyone, welcome back. We are back with another Sims 4 speed build today, and I'm kind of excited about this one because my last one was a little bit of a dud. If you saw it, you understand. If you didn't, I understand. Anyways, moving on. I started building this, I'm gonna be honest. I was scrolling through YouTube the other day and I saw a thumbnail for a little Simsies video where she was building another one of her micro homes that she does a lot. And in these videos, she tries to cram as many Sims into as small of a space as possible. For the most part, she does a wonderful job at this. So she makes it usable by the Sims, so there are no issues. She also makes it fairly aesthetically pleasing, with a few exceptions here and there because she uses some weird build techniques that make rooms that are not really rooms and stuff like that. So there are some lighting issues and whatnot, but the point is not to build a beautiful, well-lit home. The point is to see how many Sims you can cram into as small of a space as possible. And she does that really well. Like, I would say she's probably the expert at that at this point. And I got the idea. How many Sims can you actually fit into the micro home? Like, truly comfortably fit in the micro home and still have it functional and beautiful without using weird building hacks that cause lighting issues and stuff. Have it be a 100% real logical Sims house, but have the maximum number of Sims in it. And so I thought I would give it a try. I'm certainly not the first to do this. I'm sure there are many, many out there like this. I just have never really tried it myself. I've only ever built micro homes for a single Sim, and they've been fairly basic. They're just one main room and then a bathroom, and I just kind of put the furniture in wherever it logically fits. But in this one, I decided I wanted it to be a family home, preferably 4 Sims if possible. I wanted the parents to have at least somewhat of a private space during the nighttime, or the children to have somewhat of a private space during the nighttime, which meant making at least one bedroom if possible. I wanted there to be at least a 2-person table because I figure the kids could sit at the table and eat, the parents could sit on the sofa and eat. I also knew that this would be aimed at outdoorsy type Sims who maybe don't care about sitting inside watching TV all the time because there's not really going to be a great place for a TV. So we had to have a nice backyard for them to lounge in. And yeah, I took that and I kind of struggled with it for a while. As you can see, I struggled with it for a while, and the changes don't stop here, especially with the bathroom and the kids' bedroom. Those kind of go back and forth, stealing from each other a few times before I settle on how best to do it. And I will say that I have tested this lot extensively. I have tested everything in it extensively. A few things come up. The dining table, dining area can be a bit glitchy. I don't suggest, eventually here I'm going to put a laptop on the table. I don't suggest keeping the laptop unless your Sims need it for work. You can have the tablet for entertainment, and I really, really wish that they would add TV streaming to the tablets and the computers, and maybe add a couple more tablets potentially at some point. But Really what I want is for them to add TV streaming on the tablets and the computers. I think that would be fabulous if they had that, because that would make these micro homes that much better. But anyways, back to the dining table. I don't suggest leaving the computer there unless your sim absolutely needs it for work or entertainment, or at the very least, keep it in one of your sim's inventories at all times, because for some reason, even if it's just sitting in one spot on the table, the Sims won't use the other spot at the table either, and I'm not sure why. I think it might be an issue with the other furniture that's around it, which brings up the second issue for the dining table. On occasion, the Sims will get up, and instead of moving to the side, they will, for some inexplicable reason, move forward, which places them inside the dining table. All you have to do is pick up and place down the dining table in build by mode again, and it'll reset the sim to another empty spot nearby. It is kind of annoying, but I didn't know how to fix it. The other thing about this house is that if your Sims leave the Murphy bed down, they can still get around the house, even to the back door on the other side of the Murphy bed, because even though it doesn't look like it in this video, there is still a half a tile between the end of the bed and the kitchen stuff. So they will still be able to get around, but if you leave them to their own devices to decide when and what to eat, they will never use the stove, ever. Even though the Murphy bed is not in front of the stove, they will not use it. They will always choose to go out to the grill, which you'll see in a minute. You have to direct them to use the fridge or the stove if you want them to cook inside. And 9 times out of 10, they will always go outside to the table and chairs outside to eat, regardless of what time of year it is or what the temperature is outside, rather than using that dining table right there. So there are some minor issues with the lot, but this was just me testing it with just Grace. And the biggest thing I was testing was making sure that she could get to all the different pieces of furniture and to build the garden up. That was the only reason why I was testing it with Grace. I wanted this lot to have a pretty much full garden already when you downloaded it. And just to make sure everybody can get into the beds, the toilet, the sinks, the shower, the stove, all that kind of stuff. I do wonder, now the shoe rack doesn't stay. I eventually replaced that with something else that is a little bit smaller, like a little bit narrower, and I didn't really test as much after I changed the shoe rack out. I do wonder if some of the glitchiness with the table was because of that shoe rack sitting there. It's pretty big, and technically the Sims can get past it. They just always won't choose to, hence the getting stuck in the dining table and stuff. I think. Possibly. Maybe. I don't know. But it's just a theory. Yeah, so I wanted it to be beautiful. I think it turned out beautifully. A little bit modern, a little bit traditional. That seems to be my thing. Funny story. The curtains in the kitchen, living room, dining space, the blue on those curtains is the exact same color of the curtains here in my recording room, only like a shade or two lighter than the curtains in my recording room here. It is, I never even noticed that before. It is weird, but I'm changing the curtains in my recording room. I don't know if I'm gonna go with a very, very, very soft, like, purpley color, or if I'm gonna go with pink. The blue, gray, green color is beautiful. I love it. I've always loved that color. It's just too dark. This room back here is already very dark. It's a north facing room, and it's also shaded and shadowed by like overhang and stuff, and so it's really dark in here, like really dark most of the time, except on camera where the window blows out and makes the thin hair on my head really show up for everybody to see. Which I'm still working on figuring out how I can move things around so the window isn't right directly behind my head. But anyways, it's just a really dark color back here, and it's not a color that I use anywhere else in my house. It was not the color I chose. When I bought these curtains, the picture online and the description of them on Amazon, they were supposed to be more like a very pale oceany sky blue color, like still kind of that blue with slight hints of green in it, but much lighter, and still on the gray side, but again much lighter. And they came here and they are much more green than they were supposed to be, and also much darker than they were supposed to be. And some of that could just be the room. It's so dark in here that using dark colors makes those dark colors look even darker, if that makes sense. So it could be that, but I want to go with lighter, brighter, more pastel-y colors to match the rest of the house. So as I get back into using my face cam more and more, you're gonna see some changes in the backdrop. Now, I don't know exactly what those changes will be, but they will definitely be lighter, brighter, more pastel-y. So I just thought I'd throw that in here while we were talking about it. But back to the build now. So I realized, I got so busy talking about my house, I forgot. So right before I placed that tree right there, and I don't know if that tree is available to everyone. This, by the way, is a base game and tiny living only home, which hopefully I remember to go back and edit that into the beginning intro part so that people know right off the bat. But this is a base game and tiny living only home. I wanted to do a nice little limited pack build. But right before I placed that, what I was going to say about that was that tree, I think, is some kind of base game, like, God, I'm trying to remember. Was it like some kind of deluxe edition base game thing or pre-order thing? Something. It was something that you could only get for a limited time. So I don't know if that tree is available to everyone. You'll have to let me know down in the comments if you got The Sims 4 for free, which means also you got it more recently than 2014, if you have that tree. If not, if you have movie hangout stuff, the tree and movie hangout stuff also achieves the same effect for this backyard. And if you want, let me know down in the comments and I can put an oak tree there and place some lights that look like lanterns in the tree to give you the same effect as that. But anyways, right before I placed that tree, and the reason I used that tree, I used to use that tree all the time because it's my most favorite tree in the game. But when I realized that it was a specialty item that not everybody might have, I stopped using it. But I was on Twitter, and I was pretty much to a point where I was ready to just maybe do a few little tweaks and then test the lot. And I saw something on Twitter. I saw a leak. I saw a leak for the next expansion pack. Not the new roadmap. Hopefully, we'll be getting that soon. But I saw a leak for the next expansion pack, and I was one part joyful and giddy, and one part irritated because, come on, guys, really take the fun out of the wait and the speculation and all that kind of stuff. Like, I remember back in the day when we'd get word that, well, okay, I can't say back in the day because it used to be that we wouldn't even know there was an expansion pack coming, or we'd know based on the timeline, like they used to release expansion packs every 6 months. And so we knew based on the timeline that there was an expansion pack coming. But the online portion of the game, like the community portion of the game, wasn't like it is now. So all we could do was sit and speculate and see if there were like hints in the game or whatever. And that is what I miss. We knew there was a pack coming. We just didn't. There's that jarring transition. I'm so sorry for that. Also, some of these things do change later. But anyways, I miss those days when we knew there was a pack coming, but we knew absolutely nothing about it. Not a lick. And we would be scouring the game for any hints. We'd be scouring guru posts on the forum for any hints. They didn't give out hints back then like they have in the more recent past, but we would all still try anyways, and I kind of miss that a little bit. But anyways, I saw it. I can't unsee it now. I know. So I'm not gonna say it and spoil it for everybody else, but I mean, I practically did say it and spoil it for everybody else because, yeah, I put that tree there because, you know, the leak for the next expansion pack. And then this lot took on a whole new feeling for me, and a whole new, like, yeah, I guess feeling is the best way to describe it. If I'd have known from the beginning, I might have chosen a different color palette, something more pink and green and purple. But yeah, I decided to leave it with the more modern color palette, but just add those little tiny touches in there that kind of go well. And the nice thing is it's a limited pack a build, so you can use some of the other packs to change some things around if you want, or replace some things with things from other packs, and it still works. So let's get into the walkthrough now. Okay, so here is the very naturey, woodsy front yard. A big, beautiful, fluffy garden. I think the garden fits really well with this house. A tiny garden for a tiny house. I think it works. Then we enter in, and immediately you have the dining nook, I guess you would call it here. Storage area, shoes, coats. Not really. Coats, I guess, would go here, huh? Shoes, gloves, hats, keys, phones, all that good stuff right there in that thing. Nowhere else to hang the pans, so we hung the pans here in this little space. Now, I say we like I live here, but you know what I mean. Now we enter into the main area, which is the kitchen and living room and clothing storage space. That's why I traded out the end table for these things everywhere, so there was plenty of clothing storage. I wanted this to be very very realistic. And I figured if we can't fit clothing storage anywhere else, might as well put it here, right? No space for a toy box, so this is the only toys the kids get. Sorry, kids. But again, this is an outdoorsy family, and they spend most of their time outside enjoying the outside. So, fully functional kitchen. I extensively tested it, so that should be good. Then we enter into this little room, and I did test this. It works perfectly. So the kids have their own little spaces here. That's wonderful. Then we have the little bathroom here. No sink here, but they do have a nice shower and toilet that's easily accessible, so that's good. My mouse keeps scrolling in and out on its own. I'm really sorry about that. Then you come back here. You have a garden here. There's one spot left open for the magic bean if you get the rare seeds. There's also a little area right here under the window where you could put a couple of smaller pots, like the small round ones, to add more of the magical bean things for the plant sim stump over there. But then we have a table, and it looks like Grace left a book on the table, so you get a free book. And then we have the fairy light tree here in the backyard. You've got a grill for eating outside, a table for eating outside, a couple of fruit trees, and a couple of lounge chairs. This backyard, from what I can tell, is a major draw for the Sims. They really love being back here. So even Grace, who is not an outdoorsy Sim, spent most of her time back here while I was testing. She loved this backyard. So it's definitely a Sim approved backyard. And you know what? I'm feeling pretty good about this one, like really good about this one. I had a dud last time. I knew it was a dud before I uploaded it, but I thought, you know what? Sometimes we got to show our failures as well as our successes. And so, yeah, that was my showing my failure as well as my success. And I would say this one's a success. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but sometimes I just need that to feel better about my bad builds. So, anyways, moving on. If you enjoyed this video, if you're enjoying my channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!